So I told you guys that I would do a video over my process in writing, and I decided just to go ahead and do it tonight. That way I don't have to worry about running out of time or forgetting to do it. So I guess show you how to go from blank sheet of paper to this wonderful thing right here. That sounds really bad, but it's what I'm gonna show you. Starts out in this book, like I said in my last video. Starts out here. Write it down as an idea, and I write down characters if I can think of names for them. And then it goes to a wonderful blank sheet of paper like this, and that is doing a weird effect with my light. I'm sorry. Then it goes to this wonderful blank sheet of paper, which I write out an outline for, which is more in detail than what's in my book. And then from that, I usually have someone read the draft that I write down, because I always write a draft in a notebook first. I will write down a chapter in a notebook, or I will type it up on my computer, print it out, and let someone read it, someone who I know is a grammar Nazi, and I'm sorry for any grammar Nazis who take offense to that. I personally apologize. But I make sure I find someone who is exactly like you to find any problems in my book. And it usually comes back to me with a bunch of red marks on it, and scribbles, and commas in random places where I forgot to put them, or commas marked out, because I like to overuse commas, and I really don't know why, but I do. And if I see that half the page is covered in red, I typically do this. And I continue to do that until there's nothing left, because it was garbage, and I have to go back to the drawing board. And obviously I would have changed it before I actually did that, because paper is not fun to eat twice, especially if you have to have them reread it and you didn't remember what was written on it in the first place. And yes, I'm still eating this, because it's what I do anyway, and it tastes fine to me. Let's see. Then from those, I go through and I do edits, and I actually send my full manuscripts to my editor, who's one of my most awesome friends. His name is Jeremy. He'll go through and he'll actually make a new document. Go through sentence by sentence editing, and then paste it in the new document. And then send it back to me for me to review in case he forgot to do anything. And then I'll go through and change anything I need to. And then from there, I actually have multiple folders on my laptop that say raw manuscript, edit manuscript, final edits, and then ready for publishing. And the publisher that I'm using now is Author House. They're really cool. My publishing consultant is Scott Hensley. He is wonderful, and I adore him. He is so nice, and he makes sure that I understand every part of the process, everything that goes into it. He makes sure that I don't get discouraged, because he believes in my writing, because he's read it himself. And he's even told me about like J.K. Rowling and Stephen King. And did you know that Stephen King writes and just completely continues writing, like full consciousness, with no periods, no commas, nothing, and he does editors that put all that stuff in for him? I did not know that. I found that out. I am happy. I wish I could do that, but I can't, because I'm by myself, except for Jeremy. So it's nice having those people there that tell you your writing is not rubbish, it's not terrible, it's actually really cool, or that they like the concept. Tenchi and Night of Petals were both published by the same company, but it changed names. With Publish America, which is completely free, but I honestly wouldn't really suggest them. It might be free, but I don't think you ever really see anything from it. I haven't anyway. And the new name is America Star Books. The same process. You still have to sign a contract and everything, just like you do with any other publisher. but they're both self-publishers. You can go to Lulu as well, because actually Lulu is owned by Author House. It's a child company of Author House, and Author House is a child company of Penguin Random House. So that's always fun. But after going through all that process, I send it off to Mr. Henley, and he sends me back with if he wants to publish it or not. And if he does, then I go through and I get contacted by the financing department, and then from there I get my team, which is actually really cool. I get an art team, obviously. I get a review team, and I get a book consultant, which is the person that I get my books from. Yes, that's me. It's my little book. It's wonderful. And I get my entire team, and my entire team basically talks to me as much as possible. I get a personal assistant, which walks me through the process. If I have paperwork I have to fill out, or if I have something I have to sign, they send it to me and I send it back after I've done all that. And they make sure everything goes smoothly. Trying to think of what else happens. There's a lot of stuff that goes on that you have to do yourself because it is self-publishing. So you actually have to be out there talking to people, telling them about your book. You have to do all of that social media to try and get people to read your book and buy your book and hopefully love your book. But again, not every book isn't everyone's cup of tea, you know? So you're going to have a couple of people who don't necessarily like what you wrote or are offended by something that you wrote or something. There's going to be that one person who picks apart everything and decides to write a bad review just because they're having a bad day. It's better just to accept it before you even do anything. And really the best reason to write isn't necessarily for money or anything like that. No monetary things. It's the reason I write is because I like knowing that people like what I write. I like knowing that someone actually sat down and pulled an all-nighter to finish a book that I wrote when they got it the same day, because I myself have done that to books much thicker than this. I have spent an entire day in a little reading nook somewhere reading my brains away and staying up until I fall asleep and the book just falls on my face because I've fallen asleep and it fell on my face, and I just continued to sleep because it was usually 4 o'clock in the morning after I'd been reading for almost 16 hours straight. Excuse me. But that's the monetary part isn't what I'm after half the time. Well, not even half the time. The monetary part isn't what I'm worried about. Like, I'm wanting to schedule a book signing in Franklin for the Feed the Cows program, which cows isn't actually the animal, the bovine entity. It's actually Computers on Wheels, which is a program for high schools so they can have laptops to take to each classroom. So the teacher can do an online lesson, possibly like with an online link or something that students can go to and actually work through while being in the class rather than having to look it up on their own at home. Or it's so people can rent out a laptop if they don't have one at home, or if they don't have a computer at home for whatever reason. And that was something that I really wanted to promote and give to. So the book signing that I was wanting to do, all of the proceeds, I wouldn't get a single thing. All of the proceeds would go to the Feed the Cows program. And I'm really wanting to do that, and that's something that I'm going into doing soon. And I hope you guys will come to that if you can. or you can come to my book signing at Hastings in Murfreesboro on the 26th of March. But yeah, I'm gonna try to have copies of all 3 of my books for both signings. I may not have that many of Tenchi because it will be rewritten. So the copies that are out now are pretty much going to be obsolete once I do that. I'm going to try and keep the cover because I actually made that cover by myself. That image right there, I made it by myself. Thank you, Photoshop and drawing skills. But this I did not make by myself. My art team did this, and I am very proud of them. I love it so much. The Knight of Petals cover I did not do. America Star Books did that, and I'm actually really proud of that too. They went through and actually read the manuscript and made it really, really nice. But yeah, I hope you guys like Tenchi, I hope you like Shadowmark, and I hope you like Knight of Petals when it comes out. I am a fantasy author, but I'm trying to branch out some. I actually have something in the works right now that is more of a horror story. And it deals with insanity and insomnia and all of that fun stuff. So, yeah, that sounds so fun, right? Yeah, that's gonna be something that I read. But I really do hope you guys will write some comments below and tell me what you want to learn about me or anything that I do. If you have any questions about publishing or anything like that, please feel free, write a comment below and I will answer every single one to the best of my ability. If I honestly do not know, I will probably say Google it because I have no better way of answering that question for you. But yeah, I hope you guys have a nice night or a nice day depending on when you see this. And I hope that any adversities you come into, whether it be emotional or physical or anything, go by well. I have no idea why I'm saying this, but I feel like I should. And again, just feel free to write me a comment and I will respond. Have a nice day or night to all you insomniacs out there. Bye.